Hello, hello, hello. My name is Audrey Hamilton. I am the entrepreneurial assistant. I'm a virtual assistant, inspiration coach, and a social media manager. Tonight we have Amanda Grey with us, telling us about her business and herself and about connection. So, Amanda, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself? Like, what are your interests, dislikes, and random stuff about you?
Well, okay, a little bit of tidbits about me is I have two kids. So I'm a mom. I have a 15-year-old son named Roman and a 12-year-old daughter who does not look 12, but who is 12 still. Her name is Ephesian, and my husband is Phil, and we have fur babies. And so we have a little puppy and two little kitties that are munchkin cats. So their little legs are like this. And
Oh,
what I love is dessert.
what is your favorite dessert? We gotta hear this.
I heart cake and cookies and ice cream. And although donuts are supposed to be breakfast, it really should be dessert. I love dessert. So I'm not usually picky. I mean, I usually choose chocolate, but there's lots of choices out there. So I love me some good dessert, but I like the feel good kind of, soft
Yeah.
cookies and cake and ice cream and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, but when I was thinking about like the random stuff, because I'm like, what's random about? I don't know. Like, what do you tell people it's random? But here I was going to tell
I
you
know, right?
an
It's
idea
always
for
one of
your interviews. Have you ever played the game Two Truths and a Lie?
I have not. Oh, yes, yes, sorry, I forgot
It's
just
a
remembered
it's
it.
a little icebreaker game that I probably learned forever ago in high school, but where you have three statements that you say. I'm not going to put you on the spot
Mhm.
because usually people have to think about this, but I have my go-to two truths and a lie. So I'm going to give you two truths and one lie, and so now you have to guess which one is the lie.
Okay.
And really, it's just a little tiny white lie fib. It's not really a lie, but two truths and lie. Okay,
Yeah.
ready? Okay. So number one, I at one time in my life was an international clogging champion. Two, um, I have performed for the Queen, who's now passed, but before she passed. Okay. Three, I was born in a place that doesn't exist.
Hmm. I'm gonna guess number 3 for some reason. I feel that's the simplest one, and the other two, I mean, they sound like impossible, but in my experience too with these games, the people end up blowing stuff that actually happen to be true into
Yeah,
those.
it's a good guess. Okay, so really it's number one. So I was
Okay.
not international clogging champion, but in high school I was an international cheerleading champion. And then I did perform for the Queen when I was 16 at Royal Albert Hall. Very special, very
What
special.
did you do?
I was an all-star cheerleader, and so I was there, and there was a group of about 1,200 of us that made national all-stars, and we go, and then you get to London, and as soon as you get there, you audition again to get into a smaller group, and then the smaller group, all of us performed in the Lord Mayor's. Hold on, it's the Lord Mayor's Westminster's New Year's Day parade. It's a huge parade there
Cool.
in London for New Year's, and it's 1,000 years ago, but then the Queen, out of all the performers and entertainers in that parade, she handpicked. It's hard for me to even. I mean, like, gosh, she just died, but it's like she handpicked her favorites, and so every year she loved the American cheerleaders, and so whoever got handpicked out of the crowd, it was small batches of the big batches, got to perform in a private performance at Royal Albert Hall, which is a premiere. I mean, it's London, it's where the Queen is, but it's this round. It's almost like not exactly a black box theater, but it's a round kind of Coliseum style where the stage is down and the seating is raked. It's just really cool
Cool.
environment, just so ornate and historical and just wow. And like
Very
literally it was
cool.
her and her little private posse, like nobody else, just her little royal guard posse. That's it.
That's really cool.
But the truth is I also was born in a place that doesn't exist. So I was born in California, actually. I'm not from there, but my dad was stationed there in the Marine Corps. And I was born in Orange County Hospital in Mission Viejo, California, near the base that doesn't exist anymore, El Toro. And that hospital does not exist anymore. They knocked it down and rebuilt it. So truly, I was
Oh,
born in a place that doesn't exist.
doesn't exist.
You got
Very
it?
cool.
So in the future, here's your quick tip on that is just take 3 statements about yourself and take one and just change one little tiny thing. And there you go. You got 2 truths and a lie.
Very cool.
So
Very, very cool.
that's my random thing is that's what I like to say for my 2 truths and a lie game.
Good, good. I like it. I really do. That sounds like a good. So I've been hosting these random girl nights, so virtual girl nights. So that sounds like a good game that we need to play too.
Yes, yes. And then sometimes it's fun too, like when everybody asks random questions and put them in a jar and pull them out. Well, I'll never forget one time I did like student ministry for over 20 years. And one time we had a girls sleepover and one of the girls, this is hilarious to me, but one of the girls put a question in the jar that says, which way do you put the toilet paper on the roll? Up or down?
Oh my word.
But the funny part is somebody else also asked a toilet paper question. They wanted to know, do you wad it up or fold it up before you take care of wiping your business? And I thought, wow.
Oh my word.
So you never know what
It works.
but it's hilarious. It makes for good laughs, that's for sure. So
yeah, I bet it does. I bet.
mm-hmm.
All right. So you want to tell us a little bit about your business?
Yeah, I'd love to. Thank you for the opportunity to be here with you and to share this time with your audience. And so, for me, I am Amanda Grey, as you said, and I am a Kingdom entrepreneur, business coach, and strategist. And specifically, what I have been called to do is to help people to discover and to define and to design essentially an online business around their God-given superpowers. And so God's gifted me with the ability to help people to see from their skills, their knowledge, their experience, their passions, their hobbies, their life story, just how they have that stuff inside of them and how it can be packaged up and monetized to make a joyful living. But the people that I serve are really, of course, everyone needs to pay bills and all that kind of stuff, and everyone wants to make a joyful living, but really people that I serve are super passionate about bringing transformations to other people's lives to impact their lives in massive ways. It doesn't matter if they're, mindset coach, health coach, or in the spiritual kind of side of things, or mindfulness or financial coaches, like all kinds of stuff. I have people that have ministries that teach Bible studies and things like that, So anything that people have inside of them that they just want to do and make a joyful living, that's my thing. And so helping people to do that online, and usually when that happens, so especially like coaches and course creators and service providers. So I have Christian entrepreneurs, those kind of coaches, course creators, service providers, that kind of thing. But then also specifically in those beginning phases. So whether they're started but stuck, they got some results, but just not super consistent. And so I usually like to say, if you're making less than 6 figures a year, then you're my gal or guy. I do have a co-ed audience, so it's not exclusively women, but I'm your gal for that. That's the heart that God's given for me, is people in that space. And I love it. I love it so much. And so a lot of things that we talk about, we talk about everything, because the journey I'm wanting to take my people through is literally like from having their ideas to birthing it, to growing it and scaling it, like all the way. And I'm really helping people to see how they can design a business blueprint right out of the gate, or in the early phases of their business, where they can have both active and passive income. But usually, here's the punchline. In the beginning, people are struggling with the barriers of entry into this online space, so, and I'm sure your audience would know this as well, is a lot of times we get into this and we get so excited, but then all of a sudden we get overwhelmed because suddenly we have to be a social media expert, we have to be a copywriting expert, we got to learn how to build funnels, and we got to know how to do, suddenly it feels like we need to run Facebook ads and we need money for that. And how are we going to reach people and all this kind of stuff? And so really, in my previous time before transitioning into the coaching side of it, I too was a service provider in servicing other clients and helping them with strategy and copywriting and funnel building and audience building and all that stuff. But those clients all had money for ads. And so you can get a lot further faster with ads, but most people coming into it, the 2 things that hold people back usually are the tech stuff, because they don't know how to do it and they don't have money to pay people to do it, and then growing your audience. And so I always say, and you'll see all over my profile, and anytime you're on me, like I'm always saying, like, there is a way to build your audience and your business at the same time. And you can do it with free or cheap tools that are not difficult. You can have a no tech funnel to get your first offer out there. And I want people to grow up into, nice funnels that are strategic and all that stuff. I mean, even with a no tech funnel, you can have very much strategy and intention and reach with people, but it really just starts with making it simple and just coming out of the gate with one offer. I always say one offer, the rule of one offer, one mission, one offer, one audience on one platform. It's the rule of one, right? And so with that, the punchline is, this is what people get caught up on is, do I go build a course first? Do I, even if they're service provider, do I go and create like this whole menu and a la carte of my services? Or how do I go create portfolios? Like, how do I get my first coaching client? Like, it's always this chicken and egg thing. Like, what do I do first? And my sweet spot is helping people to figure out how to do both at the same time from the get-go, without money on ad spend, without farming it out to other people, and learning to really connect with people authentically, organically in the beginning, without spinning your wheels like gazillions and gazillions of hours in groups and all the typical ways that lots of people talk about. So that's my heart, is really helping people to connect. I'm like, I'll keep talking. So unless you interrupt me and ask me a question or tell me.
Fine. You're fine. You talk, you know what you're doing, you know what you're saying and stuff. And I know what you're saying is really helpful and stuff. I especially know like people who don't know tech and stuff, who don't know what programs to use, because I'm a virtual assistant.
Right.
That is a major thing that I deal with quite a bit, is people who just don't quite know what's programs to use, what's the best for their businesses and stuff like that. So it's definitely one of those.
So my heart really in my programs is to lower that barrier of entry by way of having cost-effective, like lots of value and loaded content, training, coaching in my programs, and giving them just over the top amazing pricing. So that's part of it, is lowering that barrier of entry with cost, and then lowering that barrier of entry with technology, because you can only go so far without leveraging automations and funnels and things of that sort. But you don't have to start there, because what happens is, Audrey, is like, I know you know this because you've been there, done that, probably, like we all have, is you come to the table and you have this thing inside of you that you're like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do, or I think this is what I can do, and I really want to do that thing, right? But then, as you say, you kind of come into the space, you pull back the curtain, and all of a sudden you start hearing people talking about copy and ads or funnel or CRMs. Like, some people never even heard of what a CRM is, or they start talking about automation and workflows, and you're just like, what? And so it feels like a lot of pressure to suddenly have to become like this expert of all these different things. And so now you're trying to learn, tools, and you're trying to learn organization stuff, you're trying to learn automations, you're trying to learn copyright, you're trying to learn funnel strategy, and now the language of buzzwords of upsells and downsells and OTOs and all this other stuff.
Really.
And all of a sudden, you're not even thinking about that thing that you really want to do. And you feel like, I can't even get anywhere because all this other stuff is clogged up in the way. And so that's where I come along, and I just want to help. Okay, let's set all that to the side. Let's just focus on a few fundamental things that are truly foundational to build on. And I mean, it is what it is. Like, even when, you go to build a house, or someone goes to build a skyscraper, you're going to have a blueprint, right? You know what the end thing is going to be like, and all the pretty finishes in a home or whatever it is, but you still have to dig a little bit to lay that foundation. And then once you lay that foundation, it's got to be cured. And then you frame it out and you start doing all the steps that go in between. And then all the other fancy, I call it the eye candy, things like your countertops and stuff like that, like, are really just eye candy for the most part. And your carpet, your flooring, whatever, your tile or wood and whatever, all this stuff, it becomes more eye candy, because really, and I'm saying this because I did years and years of real estate before I was in my online space, and my sweet spot was new construction. So I'm like, I know this world very well. But the point is that you really have to have that foundation laid, and then you need a framework that you can do the rest. I'll say finish, but I don't want to say finish. I want to say grow and scale in our businesses online, right? So those things that we talk about, like, I'm always just telling people that we gotta first figure out what is that leading superpower that you have, And most of the time, people have so many that instead of trying to go, oh, what is my thing? It's like, well, I could do this or this or this or this, because they have so many different passions and gifts and talents and capacities, right? And so really it's nailing down what is the leading one, and then how do the other ones come up under that and support that? Because I'm here to tell you, I have yet to see someone go through my 3D method process and not see how the other ones support, and you don't have to forfeit them, because people get insecure going, but I don't want to let that go. Well, you don't have to. You just got to know how to line it up around the leading one, right? So we discover that, and then we define out of that. So that's what's in you. And out of you creates a what you can offer idea, concept, and who you can serve from that. And so in my context, because I'm coming from a biblical perspective and biblical worldview, I hold in my heart deeply that every gift and everything that God has given to us to give and to love on people, to serve and to have a part of our business, that God has designed it beautifully for us to offer that to people as the giver, and for other people to receive that. And it's mutually edifying, or said another way, it's supposed to be a mutually enjoyable experience as the giver and the receiver, right? So we define our what and our who. And then out of that, we design that blueprint. So now we have the fundamentals there. Now we need to go say, okay, what is that ascension journey that we can take people on? What is that transformation, the complete transformation that we can lead and guide people through? And then not only that, that we too can mutually edifying in that kind of mutually enjoyable way. How can we experience that in our business? So for example, I'm sorry, my puppy, that's Poppy. He's just panicking because dad's gone to Dallas. So he really would rather be somewhere else right now. But anyway, no, he hears the kids. So really the thing is like, we're all made differently and uniquely. And there is no one size fits all. Like there's a general strategy that I teach my students, but in real life, some people are really want to do one-on-one style coaching, and that's their sweet spot. Or they might even have a topic that kind of should be one-on-one. Like if you do trauma coaching or healing and you come from that counseling background where it's really intense, intimate stuff, that may not be something that people are going to jump right into a small group coaching situation, right? Or some people are really up for the one-on-one stuff. Some people get worn out, just like, oh my gosh, I can't do one-on-one. It just wears me out, right? So there's things like that where some people want to have a lot of engagement and activity on their social media profiles. Some don't. They want to have little to none and all that kind of stuff. Some want to do workshops. Some want to do, master classes. Some want to do challenges. Some want to do webinars. Some want to, you know what I mean? So from a personality standpoint and from a bandwidth standpoint, so sometimes it's not just personality. Could be seasons of life, like you being a single mom, or other people I have in my academy that are, they have elderly parents or people that they take care of, or they have children that they take care of, you know what I mean? So it's like, just depends on your bandwidth and what you have with your personality. But my point is we design that blueprint with where you are now and where you want to go in your business and how you want to experience that with your people, with your audience, And so with that being said, we get that all squared away, and then we go right into understanding, okay, we got that down. So now we get deeper on your what. And then we really learn how to curate those offers. So we low, mid, high ticket offers, right? We get that all staged. And then we get right into the next part of what I know you want to talk more about, is the connection part, about the messaging and understanding how to authentically connect with our people. And so with that being said, like, I'm just this huge proponent just saying, like, when people talk about brand stories, Audrey, and they talk about like, oh, you need to know your origin story, like all that, yes, right? But the thing that I think most people are missing in their brand story or origin story is you can't have a story, if this is my opinion, of course, but my opinion, I think we can't have stories and we can't put out there to the world that we want to reach and impact these people if we don't understand the stories of the people that we want to reach and impact. And so from my perspective, it's like our story and their story really go together. And that is what creates truly your brand story. Because if your brand story and your brand, if you're others focused, then you can't not have a story without it being connected to other people's stories. So we get really deep into that. So then we really understand where they are in their journey. We understand our journey very intimately. And then we know how to meet people where they are in their journey. So then we're not like over talking people, or, you know how it is. Cause I don't know if you've ever had those DMs or anything, or people when they reach out to you and they just start talking about stuff. And it's like, dude, you didn't even ask me a question about me. You have no idea who I am, what I'm about. And even if I care about what you just sent me a message about. You ever had those messages before?
Oh yeah.
All the time, right?
So annoying. So annoying.
It is annoying.
Everyone has their own thing and they will say and swear up and down it works. And I'm also like, I don't like that. I don't like that style of marketing. I prefer asking them about their business and learning more about them before I offer something at all. But it's just that connection building. That's wonderful. You make better friends doing that, better connections.
And yeah, exactly. What you're saying is, when you're saying better, in my mind, what I'm hearing is deeper and longer lasting relationships that matter. Because it might be that you meet somebody and they're not a fit for what you have to offer in your business, be it coach or service provider or whatever, but it could be a collaborator. It could be a connector. It could be someone who's going to be a raving fan of you, even if they never hire you, right? But you never know unless you take the time to really connect with them about them. Because the reality is like, I mean, I always imagine, like, if I'm at HEB, which I can't remember what state you live in. What state do you live in? Are you in
North Carolina?
Oh my goodness. How could I forget that? Where in North Carolina?
High Point.
Oh my gosh. That's right. Okay. It's been a while since we talked about that. Cause that's my turf my dad retired at Cherry Point in Havelock, North Carolina. So that's my turf. But
cool.
So Atlantic Beach, that's where I'm like, that's my sweet spot. So
well, you ever come in back in the area, let me know. We will go out for coffee.
Yes. And Tilda is in Rocky Mount. Do you know Tilda Whitaker Bailey in our group? In my KBB group, she's in Rocky Mount. So I know that that's farther away from you, but actually there's several people in North Carolina, but Tilda is my North Carolina gal that I just love. But okay, I just had to say that. Okay, I actually had I was a dance major in college, and I had a guy in the dance program. He was from High Point, and he was awesome. So, okay, anyway, okay, so I was going to say, imagine you're at HEB, which is the big grocery store here, but Food Lion, okay? You got Food Lion where you are, or Winn-Dixie? Yes, I worked at Winn-Dixie in high school and in college. I worked at the Winn-Dixie. So imagine you're at Food Lion, HEB, whatever, Walmart, and you're grocery shopping. And then someone just comes up to you and just starts telling you about what they did today at their job or whatever, like just started telling you something. It just would be weird, right?
Totally.
I mean, wouldn't that be so weird? I mean, on the occasion you're out in public, and let me just let him out real quick. I'm sorry. He's going to just keep doing
no problem.
Come on, go. I think he was wondering if I was going to go with him. Okay, so if you're out in public, you're at Target or wherever, and someone just starts coming and telling you about their business or their whatever, and just because we're both at Target or HEB or Food Lion or whatever, it doesn't mean we have something in common. So just because we're both on Facebook doesn't mean we have something in common. Even if we're in the same, entrepreneur group or Christian group or networking group, marketing group, whatever, it doesn't really mean that we have anything in common, really,
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, great. We both like Target. We both like HEB, whatever. But if someone comes to you and do that, so I'm just saying, like, in real life, we would never do this. This is not the way. If we had a brick and mortar business, this is not the way we would do it. We would not just go up to people and do that. We would be looking for people, first of all, who would have a higher probability of having something in common. And then whenever we're making an effort to connect with them, we would be looking to see, with permission, hey, do we have this thing in common? I think we do, Audrey. Do we? Okay, cool. Is it okay that I sent you a friend request? And then and asking permission instead of coming in, link dropping, hey, I'm hosting this workshop, and just, I tell you all the time, and it drives me nuts. And so usually what I'm more about is, hey, let's just, first of all, let's source how I found you. So if I found you, Audrey, in whatever entrepreneur group or marketing group or whatever, you're like, hey, we're in this group together. Is it okay I sent a friend request? And then people usually will say yes or no, or they don't say anything. Sometimes they just accept the friend request and whatever. But then they say, yeah. And then they usually want to know, why do you reach out to me, right? And I just tell
Yeah.
them, I like to connect with other like-minded people. And I have my language that I use that's relative to my context, right? And then the first thing I do is ask about them, hey, thanks for the connection. Would love to know more about who you are, what you do, how'd you get started, what's your story? And then most of the time they're like, oh my gosh, this person is taking the time to ask about me instead of coming and charging about this, that, and the other,
Yeah, exactly.
And then with that though, it's a bit of a double edge. I don't know if you've ever had this experience where you want to be intentional. You want to be efficient if you're reaching out to a lot of people at one time. And you want to have a purpose that keeps the commonality going for the reason why you're reaching out to people. So it's totally fine. Like I connect with people all the time where we have these things in common, like, oh, you're in North Carolina, I'm from North Carolina. Oh, I see you're in Texas, I'm in Houston, or, hey, whatever. Or we have common friends. It's like, oh my gosh, what a small world. You know this person and I know this person, and it has nothing to do with the way you and I are connected. Like sometimes that blows my mind away, how small the world really is. But then still, it's like, okay, but we're still here to talk about this thing. And in real life, it's not that I'm trying to go find 1,800 new best friends on Facebook, because I'm not. I'm trying to make business networking connections, but I am others focused and I do care about people. And when God says to treat people the way that you want to be treated, I'm like, that's kind of important. And so I take it seriously.
Kinda. It's very important.
Second greatest commandment of all, right?
Yes.
Love God, love people. Jesus said all the law and prophets hang on those two commands, right? Yeah, super important, but very practical actually in business. Even if people aren't, Christian, it's just super practical. That's why it's called the golden rule. That's why the whole world calls it the golden rule, right?
Yeah.
It's treating people the way you want to be treated. So
Yes.
I feel like you're going to ask something. Go ahead. I'll take it.
Yes. So I was just wondering how long you have been in business.
It's a good question. Okay. So my story, like most people's story, is not linear, right? I didn't just show up and all of a sudden here I am. Long story short.
I wish.
I know.
Wish.
That's what I'm trying to do, is help people make it as linear and streamlined as possible and collapse time, save you time and tens of thousands of dollars that I have already spent and invested in all the training and coaching and courses and stuff out there, because I have spent a boatload of money. I'll tell you that. Okay, look, so the short version of the story is my background pre-online stuff is 20 years plus experience in sales but I hate even using the word sales, because really in my corporate life, it was technology solutions and it was never commodity sales. If I had to sell toilet paper, I would just not be able to make a mortgage. I just am not that person. I've always been relational solutions selling, if you will. Right. And then when I made my exodus out of corporate life to go have babies, I went into real estate and had my own business for over 15 years there. And did very well in that, and loved my life there. But I had an angst. It got to a place where I wanted more freedoms of having, I didn't want to be location dependent for my work anymore, because I had lived in a state that wasn't where I'm from and whatever for a very long time. My kids were born and raised there for all intents and purposes, but I'm like, I want to show my kids the rest of the world. I want them to relocate. But I was in real estate that was all local based. And I'm like, as a service provider in that, I'm like, I would have to start over. So I want to find something online. So when I came into the online space, it was all through ClickFunnels and all of that. And I webinared myself to death. Didn't know what to do with the information, because I'm like, but I'm not an expert. I'm not a guru. So what am I supposed to do with that? Even in what I was an expert in, I just still didn't get it. And back then the funnels were not as multi-focused and multi-strategic as they are now, because this is when ClickFunnels was only about 18 months old. And anyway, long story short is I, of course, prayed and asked the Lord, like, what am I supposed to do? I have this angst. And then it led me actually to an Amazon business. And so my online life actually technically from a monetizing standpoint started with Amazon. So I really prayed and I asked the Lord, I really wanted to create something, and I did. I was really blessed. And in that, I launched this product that I created. It wasn't like an imported thing from China. It was actually a consumable product, and then broke like a ton of Amazon records just right off the bat. But then we had a manufacturing issue and it tanked. And that one little
what was this product?
It's Kids Nutritional Shake is what it was. It's called Grass Kids.
Okay.
And so it was this, like, there isn't another product like it still on the market, but I don't even want to talk about all that, but that's what it was, is a kids nutritional shake. Okay. And but manufacturing had an issue on the lid situation, and my reviews tanked and everything tanked. I started getting returns like crazy and losing money, like the water faucet of money going out just came on.
Oh no.
And then I was like, okay, so I had to like recall, because when you send stuff to Amazon for FBA, they don't track. Like I could say this batch right here has the issue, but they don't track all that. Once it's in their hands, it just goes all over the place. And I had to recall my whole inventory. And when I sent it back, they didn't send it back like it was brand new. I had product, like all my inventory was completely unsellable. It looked like somebody played kickball in a freshly asphalt paved parking lot with my shake containers. It was so
no.
And I spent months and months fighting with Amazon, and I lost, basically because they were not going to pay for all the damages that they did to my product. So I lost tens of thousands of dollars off of a manufacturing error coupled with Amazon not handling my product properly, right? So then that was going on, and I was trying to start over and relaunch. And then while that was going on for round 2, then I won't say my life fell apart, but I'll say the falling apart in my marriage. My first marriage fell apart and went through divorce, relocation, moved to Texas, right? And so then I go for launch 3, but while all this was already going on, I had migrated to simultaneously being a service provider. And so now, because I was building, I had on 3 platforms, and Amazon and Shopify, and I had my own funnels, ran ads, all this stuff. For many, many thousands of dollars, tens of thousands, I paid service providers to do this stuff to build up my business. Long story short is they did not produce. And I wasted a lot of money paying people who did not produce for my company.
Oh no.
And so every time I would just pull back a piece of what I was paying people to do, I would just learn the skill myself. And I'm like, okay, screw it. If I'm going to spend that much money on somebody, I might as well learn how to do it myself and get it done right. So I started learning all these skills. And then I didn't want to, though, because in the beginning it was so intimidating. I mean, it was a lot, you know? And so then I'm in this network of, online digital marketers, brilliant people. I mean, just brilliant, capable people. And then I started getting like, hey, can you help me with this project? Hey, can you help me with that project? So I wasn't looking to be a service provider. It just came to me. And then they're like, what do you charge for this? And I'd be like, hey, what should I charge for this?
Yeah.
Friends in a chat. Oh my God, somebody's asking me to build like a whole 3-step funnel. First time I was like, oh my God, someone's asking me to build a 3-step funnel. How much do I charge for that?
Yeah,
so
really.
Anyway, so now I get formal, full 3-dimensional training on being a digital marketer, get certified, like all this stuff. And now I officially have a business as a certified, trained by a global guru for real. And anyway, I have clients helping them run ads. People are crossing the 6-figure marks quickly, $1 million mark in 9 months, and all this stuff, selling $47 products, courses,
nice.
courses. And so then I'm sitting there going, this is exciting, but I also was kind of like, Lord, like I'm busting my butt helping these people make gobs of money. Like I need to do my own thing, because what I realized is I'm like, there's only so many funnels I can build in a week. There's only so much copy that I can write. There's only so many graphics I can design or funnels I can design. There's only so many clients that I can get on a Zoom and consult for offer strategy, because it became a sweet spot, like offer strategy and stuff like this. It really became my thing. And I'm like, there's only so much I can do. And then everyone's like, you should really start teaching people how to do this. And I said, okay, great. I think I want to do that. I think I want to do that because I am a teacher at heart. And I knew that because I've had decades of ministry experience in leadership and discipling and teaching and all that stuff. And that is my heart, is I love to teach. And so then I was like, okay, well, I don't know what to do though. Like I'm good. I'm decent. I'm pretty good at that. I'm above average at this, above average at this and this and this and this. But I'm like, but I'm not like stellar at anything. One thing, I'm like, I don't know what to lead with because I don't know. And so the process that I have now to help other people is not the process that I went through. I didn't create the process and then do it on myself. It came as life was going on and as it was all happening. And really the long story short there is that other people said, you know what you're really good at, that better than everybody else, is you're really good at seeing that thing that other people can and should do. And so it's like, okay, well, I can see that, but how do I get other people to see that in themselves? And so that's where I got to work, is coming out of the gate going, okay, I need a process. Okay, what did I do? Well, how did these conversations? So it's like I had to go back to what I had already experienced, try to reverse engineer that, and then create. And then, all I can say really is God blessed me and gave me this concept of this 3D method. And every time, like, people go through it, they're just blown away and they're like, holy crap, this is so powerful. And it really is. And it's very humbling when people say that, but it really is. It's so tangible and it's so streamlined and all that stuff. But that's how I got started, is that really the e-com led to service provider, led to now I have my own coaching and training business and stuff. So, but it wasn't how it, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't set out and go, yay, I want to be a coach. And that's okay if some people do, because some people do that, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
That just wasn't I didn't know that. I just was like, I want to make money without having to live in Utah. That's it. I just want to be free to leave. God, please give me an idea.
Please give you an idea, and please keep on guiding you. So that's really cool. It's really cool. What would you give what tip would you give anyone if they were just starting out in their businesses?
Ooh, so many tips that we give. Okay. I'm going to have to do 2. Okay. That's actually good for me to do 2. Okay.
Let's do 2. Let's do 2.
I want to do like a mental, and then a practical. Is that okay?
Okay. Perfect.
Okay. The mental thing is this. Okay. Here's what I hold in my heart. Okay. Is, you are made for more. Everyone is made for more. And if you have that thing in your heart that makes you go pitter patter, and you can imagine yourself in the next 3 to 5 years, I only say 3 to 5 years because you'll grow into something else. But if you can imagine yourself the next 3 to 5 years, waking up excited to go to work, doing that thing, you need to do it. So that's what I would say, is if it's in you, which it is, then do it. Don't wait for someone else to give you permission. Don't wait for someone else to tell you that it's okay. Do it. And not chances are, I promise you, this is just the way God works, is I promise you, you come out of the gate doing that with the right heart, the right motives, and others focus, and that thing will exponentially become so much more than what you can ever imagine. I just really believe that. So that's my first thing, is if you have that thing inside of you, which you do it. Do it now. Don't wait. Take action. That's one. Then practically speaking is, really take the time to get this roadmap. Okay. You only need one offer, one buyer, and one way to deliver. That's it. One offer, one buyer, one way to deliver. You don't need to go create a course. You don't need to go create a portfolio. I always say, think of a photographer. Okay. You hire a photographer. They haven't done diddly squat for you. All they've done is shown you a price sheet. Like, they might have a portfolio or something, that you can look at or whatever. But in real life, they haven't done a dang thing for you. Just because these families' pictures turned out great doesn't mean yours will, right? I mean, I'm just saying, for real. Maybe their kids are more photogenic and cooperative than your kids. Maybe their dog.
I agree. I second that.
Seriously, I can't imagine doing photos with my cats, because they're like, whatever. They're just not compatible for that. They're beautiful, but they've never photographed well. But then I see these other families. I'm like, how do they get their cat to do that? How do they get their dog to do that? Well,
they get their kids to do that. I have a 3-year-old who will not stand still enough for me to do a good picture most of the time. And my daughter is following the same path.
Well, so we're back to the photographer, where you hire the photographer, you give them money, they haven't done anything for you. You show up, you get your pictures snapped, but you still don't have anything tangible in your hand, right? Then you got to wait. So, and then they deliver them digitally. You pick out your gallery and whatever, you probably pay a ton more for them, blah, 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 whatever. And then you finally get your pictures. My point in this analogy, Audrey, is we're back to build your business and your audience at the same time. You don't need to go create a course. You don't need to go create 1,800 funnels, you can do some stuff for a small portfolio or whatever, but you don't need to go create the big whiz bang and then go try to sell it. Don't do that. There's no wisdom in that. And I can spend a whole nother hour just on that one point, right? You don't need to do that. is come out of the gate, pre-sell your concept that's clearly mapped out. So if you're doing this blueprint concept that I'm talking about in the beginning, and you know what you're doing, who you're serving, and how you're going to deliver it in this ascension concept, then you know what to do when. And then what I teach people is to lead with that comprehensive solution for your comprehensive buyers. Like, think about it. A photographer, for example, they could just do headshots, right? Like just headshots. But really, when they meet, they're selling a family package or a wedding package, a corporate party event package. They're doing packages of all that they can do. They can do the posed pictures, the candid pictures, the black and whites, the edited, the special. I mean, I'm just trying to make up stuff because I'm not a photographer, but you get the point. Is like, they're not going to sell you one picture. They don't want to sell you one picture. It's not worth their time. It's also not worth your time. You're going to spend all that time on makeup and hair and getting your outfit together.
Yeah.
Come on, one picture. Who wants one picture? So just think of the photographer and how much it actually relates to our online businesses, and create that mapped out roadmap of that, all that you have to offer. You have one offer, one audience, one way to deliver, right? You're on that one mission for that thing in your heart. And then you go and offer that one comprehensive solution, looking for your one kind of comprehensive buyers. And now you're leading with high ticket. Now you're actually connecting with people who want everything from you, who don't want just the headshot. They want the whole package. You know, I mean, like, think about it. If, like, sometimes like financial things and health things are really easy to put, you know, kind of the punchline to these things. But like, if someone has 100 pounds to lose, do you think they're going to sign up for an offer that promises 10 pounds? They're like, no,
Nope.
I need to lose 100 pounds, right? Or if someone needs to save thousands of dollars, tens of thousands, or maybe even $1 million for retirement, you think they're going to sign up for an investment program that promises to get them $5,000? No, because they're like, $5,000 doesn't even pay for a car. How's that going to help me get retired, right? Or pay my kids' college fund, right? So you see what I'm saying? Is there are people out there who will only look for the, you know, $5,000 promise or the 10-pound loss promise. There are those people, but those are not your people. That's not who you should be looking for first.
Yeah.
You want to have your comprehensive buyers who want your comprehensive solution, because you want to have the opportunity to prove to the world that you can take them all the way, that you can take them from 10 pounds to 20 pounds to 100 pounds, that you can take them to saving and investing and making $5,000, $10,000, $100,000, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So we're back to photographer. Don't just try to sell a headshot. Give people everything you have, show them all that you have, and then pre-sell that and then deliver it. And then you're like a photographer in business. And now we're doing both. We're building our business and our audience at the same time.
That's really, really good. It really is very good. Connection is really, really important. Just how you're saying it and stuff. So what is your impossible goal for your business?
Ooh, impossible. Good question. I actually thought about that one. I'm trying to think. What is, I mean, I have a thing that I want to share. It's more of a milestone. I don't think it's impossible. It depends on if you put a timeline to it. Impossible in what context? And I don't think this is impossible, but I just don't know how long it's going to take to happen.
And that's exactly the kind of thing. It could be impossible-ish, how we don't know exactly how we're going to get there and stuff, but just whatever.
Yeah, so I want to be able to be in my business and guarantee people that I can take you to 6 figures, from 0 to 6 figures in 6 months.
That's really cool.
But I want to do that after I've proven it 100 times. So I want to help 100 entrepreneurs go to 0 to 6 figures in 6 months. And with that being said, that would generate $10 million of families who care, who are about others. And then I want those people to give $1 million out of that 10 million to other causes of the world that are about others, you know? And so, I want to be able to boldly, with clear conscience, audaciously say, I can get you 0 to 6 figures in 6 months.
That's really cool.
I mean, at the end of the day, I can't really promise that no matter what, because people have to show up and do their part, right? But if I've demonstrated with my students in the academy that they've done it and plenty of people have done it, then I have a case to say, I can do that. If you show up and do your part, I'll do my part.
Yeah, exactly. That's really
Mm.
cool. Is there anything else you want to add about your business? You kind of went through and answered my other questions.
I'm a quick talker too. Everybody knows that who's hanging out with me much. Mm, here's what I would say. Maybe just one other tip for people is surround yourself with people who are aligned with you in your values, and do your diligence when you go to sign up for programs or hire a coach or things like that. Just do your diligence, making sure that, like, just try to listen past the sales pitch, and just look carefully at what people write on their sales pages. If you get an ad, and actually, this is what I'd say, no matter what your business is, you should, like, my kids and my husband, they just tease me like crazy because I get these ads and I'm just consumed by these ads. I love looking at the ads. And they're like, why do you like looking at the ads so much? It's so aggravating. And it's like, because you get to see the way that other businesses, no matter what they do, like right now, I'm getting a lot of ads about legal contracts for online business, because you just click on one ad. Next thing you know, you start getting a bunch of them, right?
Yeah.
So then you start looking at the way that people communicate and you think, this is an ad. I'm cold traffic. These people now that I'm getting these legal contract ads for, like, they don't have me on their list. Like, I've never signed up for any opt-in or freebie on these people's list, right? So I'm really cold traffic. So I like to look and see how people are trying to communicate with me as cold traffic. And then think about that and go, do I like that? Is that good? How does this make me feel? So when I'm thinking about that, like exactly like this subject of legal contracts, it helps me to also be incredibly mindful of others, so that I can actually just think, okay, if this made me feel like this, then when I message people or connect with people, how would that make them feel? So I'm just very intentional about my messaging. And then, but I also say this is that you won't please everybody, and you will have people push back and say things that aren't nice in Messenger. And I just have learned, I mean, I haven't had a ton of that, but I've had some. And I just say, okay, well, in my heart, I'm not going to get angry or do anything, retaliating or just hateful back or whatever. But in my heart, I go, okay, it's just a disconnect. Like, it's impossible to know how your message is going to land unless you get your message out there. And, for every 10 people or 30 people or 50, I mean, really, like, I'm telling you, it's like I haven't had a ton, but I'm just saying, like, for every, hundreds of messages that go out, this one person is bent out of shape because I said this, that, and the other. Okay, well, that's not a bad track record. If it was happening like 1 out of 10 messages, that's not good, right? But
Yeah, then it's a time to step back and look at your own messaging again.
Exactly. And so with that being said, it's like, okay, I can't control the way that this landed for this person, but what I can do is just simply say, gosh, I'm so sorry. That's not the way I meant for that. I totally respect you. And so I'm going to let you have your space,
Yep.
That's it.
Exactly.
But that's it, but you can't please everybody, but just give it a go. And just be, I don't know, I kind of went on a ramble there, but all that to say is
ramble, it's fine.
Oh my, I can get going on rambles, but yeah, I really like to pay attention to the way I get targeted as cold traffic or warm traffic. I like to read marketing emails. I like to read subject lines and what the hook is and all that stuff. I love to read ads. I love to see how people position their Facebook groups, what they put on their profiles, things like that. And then I just think to myself, does that land with me? Am I their audience? Because sometimes it doesn't land with me because I'm not their audience, But if I am their audience, like, I can honestly say, like, there's other Christian entrepreneur coaches that I'm like, ew, I do not like your messaging at all.
No, exactly.
And that's
also
okay.
with the messaging too, it's a good kind of way to see what's up and coming too. You kind of get onto if someone's talking more about branding and stuff or whatever. If multiple people are doing it, that's kind of what is in style right now, what people are looking for heavily right now and stuff. So
it's
do
kind
that.
of double edged on that one, I would say, is if it is like a lot of branding stuff going on, right? It's like, okay, do I talk about branding and suddenly it's white noise, or do I take a new angle on that? They're all talking about these elements. What if I came at it from this element
Yes,
or this
exactly.
angle instead? Yeah. Yes. I love your heart, Audrey. I love the way you serve your people in your group, and I think you're just doing a great job. And I'm so
thank
proud
you
of you.
so much. Thank you so much. I've learned a lot from you. I know I'm not one of the most engaged members in your group, but I have watched quite a few of your
Oh no,
lives and
you're
I've learned a lot from them, and you're really good at what you do. If anyone wants to join her group and to message her about any kind of coaching or anything, learn more about what she does, you can message her, or you can join her group up in the comments, or if once this is on YouTube, it'll be down in the description. So I really appreciate you coming on, Amanda.
Thank you for having me. Been fun.
Of course.
And now you know how to play two truths and a lie.
Exactly. I appreciate it. All right.
Okay,
Well, you
cool.
have a good night.
All
Thank you
right.
for
Bye,
everyone watching
everybody.
this.
Thank you.
Bye.